the wiring is just completely disintegrating. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm still running into weird fueling issues. Part of it is the fuel filter is either clogged or just not working. The fuel pump I know for sure works. I hooked up the straight battery with cables to the fuel pump and just touching them together, it runs. So that's a good place to start. I know the fuel pump runs, all the lines are new. So the only thing that would go would be the fuel filter, which I already have that part. I just need to install it. It's just kind of a messy job, and the thing didn't want to come off when I had the fuel tank out. So, but I think the main thing is that I'm running into an electrical issue with the relay. Let me know in the comments if you know anything about the Lucas 2.2 fueling system. I checked in the Bentley manual and it's pretty elusive. I don't really understand where they're lining up. I mean, this thing is more focused on the Holy Bible of Saabs, is more focused on the later models with the Lucas 2.4 systems, like the one on my 92 900S. This covers a lot more on that. So I'm still running into weird issues there. I got some new parts, all right? I got these new pedals from SRP Pedals. Brian over there helped me out get some custom ones done. I did the measurements and just sent them over to him. Honestly, they turned out so nice, like super nice. They're not all the way set in yet. I gotta get new screws. The ones that they came with don't lock all the way for these pedals. I think these are just like normal M4 screws, but there's just a little bit of play, as you can see. So I just gotta go to Ace real quick and get some new hardware to do this, but all the holes are already drilled to add them, so it's no biggie. Also, I've just disappeared this. This is just gone now. The only reason why I removed it was because I wanted to do the bushings for the shifter linkage eventually. I'm actually removing all this for the roll cage that will be here eventually. You gotta remove all the sound deadening stuff, like the crayon material, because it gets in the way of the actual steel to weld on. Here I gotta remove all of this guy before I weld the actual plate where the part of the loom for the cage will be. It should go up and around. Actually around here, this A pillar, or B pillar I should say, around this B pillar. That will be like where the main X part of the cage will be. It'll go up and around and down here. I charged the battery, so if you can see here, let's see. I could even just try starting it. I don't think it's gonna do anything though. So yeah, I'm still running into a weird feeling issue. To remove this guy, a lot of it is, let's see, this is fuel pump. So it's this guy right here. I don't know if this is the part that's gone bad. I can't really find a replacement online. There might be a General Bosch, what's this, the 12 volt, 15 amp. Okay, so yeah, the 15 amps I can't really find online. At least specifically for a fuel pump, I guess they're interchangeable. So as long as I can find one that's the right amperage, I think it should be okay. Part of this was I had to take this part off to check it and loop up all the cams, and notice there was a small chip on the front right. Thankfully, it wasn't on the lobe of the cam. It was just on the side, so we should be okay to run it. I am going for the more exposed aluminum look, and eventually this will be polished off. So I figured I don't want to have to worry about paint chipping again. It's going to get hot in here. The paint's going to eventually chip. I know I'm not going to do a professional job, so I might as well just clean it up, make it look pretty. And plus, eventually I'll just replace a lot of these with polished aluminum parts. So as it gets upgraded, I don't have to worry about paint chipping. I have the distributor unbolted, so it can rotate freely. And I'm just gonna hopefully throw a timing light on it and see what happens. Obviously, the roll cage will be next up on the safety list. It needs a roll cage ASAP, because then once the roll cage is done, then I can add seats. I was looking online and I found Sparco racing seats. I think they're the ADV Pro. I need to find the right type of steel. There's a certain type of steel that's the best for roll cages, and obviously a TIG welder, which I don't have. I have a MIG welder. So it's just a matter of time before I can get the car running, driving. You know, the brakes are bled, all the fluids have been changed, it needs new coolant. I have a set of fluids in there to get it started, and once it's starting running, I can just run them through a little bit, then change all the fluids out, bring it to the shop to get the roll cage. But it'll be some time before I can get this in the right place to do that. It needs to be road legal, obviously, to drive it to anywhere. So I either have to A, get it towed to the shop to get a roll cage, or just get it running and driving. Obviously it has no seats, so I'd have to like replace the seat maybe. Throw a seat back in there and call it a day. I'm going to leave the dash out, honestly. Part of this video is going to be detailing past me on the dash, but I screwed up the dash majorly. I tried flocking it. I got all the material to do it, and I failed miserably because I forgot to stir the adhesive material. It's oil on top, and then the black adhesive on the bottom, and I forgot to freaking stir it. I did all the flocking. It looked beautiful until you let it set for 2 days, and it fell right off. So I gotta find other options. I think I'm just gonna suede wrap it. It's a lot easier. I'm gonna have to sand everything down. All the hard work I put into the dash has to be just removed, start clean. The padded dash filler worked great. So the cracks are already filled. It's just kind of sanding everything down, layering some on new adhesive, sticking on some suede that would do the same function as flocking it. Flocking was just gonna be like the cheapest alternative. The thing is that I was waiting on carbon fiber resin spray. I have resin, but to do the dash, I figured I would need the spray. Basically just a spray on resin. It makes it more pliable. It stiffens it up a little bit and makes the weave not distortable. So you can cut it to the right size and then, you know, lay in the layers of epoxy resin. Let that cure. Just dry, lay up it, and then call it a day, you know, at least because this is not load bearing. This isn't load bearing. Also, you can see here, bad things have happened, but you know, you live and learn. So you can see parts of it where it did actually stick and it looks great. Same with over here, it turned out great. But as you go, it just did not stick in the right places. I did clean this up, so it is all good there. It just needs to be laid on with the carbon fiber. I was waiting on the spray, but it never came. Something happened with the packaging, so I'm just gonna have to dry lay up the epoxy resin. Let's cut it out and call it a day. I think I have enough carbon to do 1 or 2 tries. Let me show you one little toy that I got. This is a Bamboo Labs P1S and a Kasori food dehydrator. This is my filament dryer. This little guy is gonna help us out so much in the project. I can do prototyping for certain parts. One of them being is I want to learn how to do molds for carbon fiber. Since I have carbon fiber to work with, I was hoping to do some of the molding in PLA or ABS as a way to build a mold around. You know, you apply the carbon fiber over it, just pull off the part. That would avoid me using vacuum bags and doing a pre-pregnated carbon fiber. So eventually I'll get into pre-preg, but for now I'm just trying to keep things as simple as possible. But this thing is not just for, you know, molds. I have ABS material. These are just the ones for prototyping. Yeah, this has been the whole new hobby that I've been getting into. This thing's been super fun. I upgraded to the 0.6 millimeter nozzle head. So this is just the standard 0.4 millimeter nozzle head. That's good for most things, but if you're gonna do carbon fiber reinforced ABS or PETG material, you need to have abrasive wear resistant gear assemblies. So that's what I upgraded to here. So it's just going to be experimenting over the next couple weeks on getting to a place where I can use it effectively. I know a little bit of CAD, but not a ton. So this will kind of help me refine my skills to actually build out parts for this. Or maybe I can print little 3D models of the rally build and put it on Patreon or something if you guys would be interested in that. All right, I kicked this off by sanding it down with 200 grit sandpaper and tried to use the sandpaper in all the valleys and the grooves for the cracks are. Give it a quick wipe down after vacuuming it with the acetone, just trying to give it the best surface it can to adhere to the padded dash filler. Try to fill in as many gaps as possible. The padded dash filler did start to bind up on me as I was applying it, so I had to go pretty quickly. You can see me using my finger to get in all the little grooves. The applicator pad that I was using didn't do a great job with those really detailed corners. So after letting it cure for a little bit, I wiped it down again with acetone, then add the next layer of padded dash filler. In total, I used about 3 layers, sanding off each layer. What was left was a nice smooth finish across the board. I tried my best to sand as evenly as possible. One part was sanding it down by hand, the other part was using a machine, and I tried to test fit with the old speakers, hoping that the job I did had enough space for it. Some of the grooves I filled went over past where the speaker grills were. Not that it matters in this case, but I thought it was important to get a nice fitment. So then I layered down some opened up trash bags
so that I could house some of the excess flock material. Threw down my part, and I forgot to film the application process, of course, but I had a lot of trouble getting it applied. I should have gotten the gun that goes up to an air compressor. One was by hand, so they give you a tube that you fill the flocking material with, and then gets the flocking material out of these small pinholes. The other way was using an air compressor to get the flocking material out evenly, and I should have gone for that, but it was more expensive. Moving on to repairing the gas tank, I used tank weld. It was a fuel resistant epoxy. It was kind of like a putty. You put it on like Play-Doh. If I were to do this again, I would have definitely used modern classic Saab's new early fuel tank bushings, but I wasn't aware of the part when I did this repair. But it turned out okay. Made sure to use fuel resistant hose. I use a tri-layered submersible hose. You can see I'm struggling to get the hose line up to the fuel pump. Eventually it did get put together and I was able to slip it inside the fuel tank while putting the new clip on. The wiring was kind of tricky to line up. I did want to make sure that it went to the right places. Obviously the one that goes on the outside was pretty standard, but I wanted to make sure that the small and big connectors fit correctly, otherwise the fuel pump wasn't going to run. Not shown on the video, I forgot to film it, but I cleaned out that entire gas tank, got rid of all the varnish. So I cleaned it out with soap and water and let that dry off before I did any of the repairs. I just taped on the wiring so it didn't move around while I was installing it, and moved on to the fuel level sender. It just had a small collar that gets screwed in to keep it tightened, and the wiring on top actually goes inside the car. I initially thought that white piece that's next to it goes on it. That actually goes inside the car. It hooks up to the main wiring to the instrument cluster. I put the fuel tank back inside the car and used a jack to get it positioned in the right place. It took some finagling, but it wasn't too bad overall. Actually, what took the most amount of time are those screws that hold the straps to the gas tank. I tried to show this step the best I could. I just hooked up the fuel lines, the new fuel lines, to the right places. This was routed the same way as when I took it out, so I just followed the reverse. As you can see, they're all hooked up now with all new lines, and I got new clamps for them as well. Eventually, these are going to have to be moved or replaced when I upgrade to an actual fuel cell instead of the standard stock gas tank.
Alright, so we're going to do a little test to see if the fuel sending unit is correct. Alright, so we're not hearing any noises. The fuel pump isn't making any like weird buzzing noises or anything. It's okay if it makes a little bit of noise, but not like a crazy amount. I have to check the turbo and see if there's any shaft play. If there's any shaft play, then I have to replace the turbo, which would suck, but the previous owner had said that it was okay, but I just want to double check it. Yeah, this is good. While this is waiting to dry, I have two other cars I could feature on this channel. One being a 92 Saab 900S, so the non-turbo version of this car, and a 1987 Volvo 240 DL. So I was actually thinking about rallying that car for like a weekend, literally just get in the car with a helmet and throw it around. I could definitely make a video about it. The 92 Saab needs a suspension overhaul. Like it needs all new bushings, springs, the whole lot of them. I was gonna go with Bilstein B4s and also for lowering springs to kind of make it a lower street look, because the suspension's way too high in the front. I mean, this is just stock suspension. It's way too high in the front, and then it kind of squats in the back. I mean, my Volvo 240 it drives like a truck, and it has better suspension. Let me know in the comments if you guys want to see those videos. I would be happy to make them. One of you guys in the comments mentioned that I should talk about the rules and regulations for the class that this car will be running in. So let's get into it. So to start with, this car will be running in the SCCA. It will probably just do the rallycross. There are other events that this organization offers, but the only thing that's really local to my area and is the most popular currently is rallycross, which is where you just drive around a track. It's all dirt. Sometimes they have asphalt, but most of the time here it's all dirt. There are three main categories, this being stock, prepared, and modified. This car will run in the modified class, and within that, it allows for, more extensive mods, forced induction, so turbos, different aero packages like canards, wings, the whole ordeal, and weight reductions, obviously. This being, roll cages, stripping the interior, the whole deal. So within the modified category, it's broken down by drivetrain, this being rear-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, and all-wheel drive. This car is front-wheel drive, so it'll run in that class. As the car gets more set up and I become more competitive as a driver, I would love to get some buddies together and enter this car into the ARA. So I want to try to build the cage to the specs that the ARA provides. This being the right seats, roll cages, brake safety, you know, making sure the brakes are within spec, all the safety components, you know, being able to stop and go effectively is very important. So I will provide in the description of this video with all of the information for SCCA rules if you're interested in that, as well as ARA rules for safety and engine modification allowance and restrictor plates. We're not going to run into any restrictor plate issues with this car, at least not yet, but it's definitely something that needs to be looked at. I haven't gone into like all the deets of the rules for the ARA, but for the most part, the SCCA is pretty lenient in the modified class. It's highly competitive, so making this car dialed as soon as possible would just make me a better driver overall, because I'm able to feel the car and feel comfortable in the car, mainly. Getting comfortable going fast in this car and getting it sideways. I do plan on adding a hydraulic e-brake that locks the rear wheels, so that will help getting things sliding. It's a good thing. For the windows, you need to have OEM glass, so it needs to be glass. It can't have cracks that are through the laminate. The side windows don't need to be. As long as it meets time trials 3 or better, you can use Lexan or polycarbonate. So I will replace at some point the side windows with a little mailbox style window, whether that's polycarbonate or Lexan. I think I'll probably end up going for Lexan. And it would be great to add a side duct for the sides of the rear windows. I don't know how we can go about doing that yet. Thankfully, for the SCCA, all of their rules are mentioned in a huge big PDF. I will definitely add that to the description of this video. All right, I think this video is getting long enough. I will post the second part in a couple weeks. For now, I just want to give you guys something to watch. The next part's going to be literally part 2 of the dash. I'll do the carbon fiber then. Yeah, stay tuned for the next video. It'll be coming out a lot sooner than the last video I made. I know that was 3 months ago. I'm trying to keep them as a tighter schedule now, but it's just going to be some time before I can get the next video out. As you can see, the distributor is completely toasted. I will either have to rebuild that or find a different solution. If you guys are okay with it, the car can sit for a little bit longer, and I can save up for the T5 conversion, which is what I wanted to do to this car anyway. I will post obviously a video on the T5 conversion. The thing I'll start with first is the wiring harness. I think I'll do that as a video, and I'll do the clutch and flywheel as a video, and all of that will be all separate videos as I can afford each piece. I appreciate all the support on the last video. It really made me feel better about doing this project and sharing it with everybody. I'm trying to increase my production value, so things will just steadily increase with time. So I'll just keep pumping out videos whenever I can. In the next upcoming weeks to months, I will post a video doing a custom electronic dash. I didn't want it, the stock gauge cluster is totally fine. I could totally run with it, but now when I switch over to the T5 conversion, I would love to do a digital dash or have some sort of cluster that I can show some of my coolant temps and boost gauge and all that stuff on there instead of a physical gauge. Nothing wrong with a physical gauge, but it might be more reliable to do it on there. And with the tuning package that Modern Classic Saab offers for their T5 conversion, I can do CAN bus systems. And if I can do a CAN bus to a Speeduino or an Arduino or even a Raspberry Pi, I can do a video on making a dash, custom dash for this car. See you guys in the next video.